You're listening to a Rock Candy podcast.
I'm Avery Smith, and I'm here to invite you to Blessed Are the Binary Breakers, a multi-faith podcast of transgender stories. Whatever your own relationship to gender and spirituality may be, you will find yourself enriched by the stories shared by my guests, who so far have ranged in religion from Christian and pagan to Jewish, Sikh, atheist, and beyond, and have hailed from the US, Chile, Poland, Australia, and more. Tune in wherever you get your podcasts, or read along with episode transcripts by visiting blessedarethebinarybreakers.com. See you there.
Hey everybody, it's Reese Roper, one of your hosts here at the Pickle and Boot Shop. Come for the pickles, stay for the boots. Anyway, this is my weekly disclaimer. First of all, I just released this to our Patreons with the wrong episode and no disclaimer. These guys pay for the show, and I just ruined it for everyone. In this episode, we talk about duck abortions. I'm sorry about that. Somehow we mentioned that the Insiders were almost contracted to do the soundtrack for a pornographic film, and I apologize for talking about that. Also, we talk about Frank Sinatra and recording. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like Frank Sinatra, so I'm sorry about that. This is the show, The Pickle and Boot Shop. I hope you hate it. I'm not kidding.
Joe and Reese, Pickle and Boot Shop. Get yourself a pickle. Get yourself a boot. Joe and Reese, Pickle and Boot Shop. Pickle time is happening. Pickle time. I go down to get some pickles. With your grandma and your kids. I go downtown. With your grandma and your kids. Boot time. Pickle and boot time. Don't be fickle, get your pickle cider, pop a nickel in your boots. Not a place of ill repute. Bring your grandma and your kids. Come for the pickles, stay for the squids. Stay for the squids. Boots. Put that pickle in your pants. Get some booze inside your hands. Put that pickle in your pants. Get some booze inside your hands. 1996, we start this.
So if you are paying attention to your life and your Instagram account, you just saw that we posted a Reels for kind of what we're doing here, a little live look-in, a little live looky-loo, as the kids say. Kids are saying that a lot lately. Lit fam and looky-loo. Bringing that back, just so you know.
My kids they're not that advanced. They're like in 4th grade and kindergarten.
So things are still like cool or neat.
Yeah, they talk about yeeting.
Yeeting, yep. Yeah. My kids, yeet was a big word a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Last year, year before, yeeting was a thing. So I'm hip to that lingo.
I'm like, yeet your frickin' green beans, dude.
Yeah.
But they don't think that's funny.
Yeah. No. Like my kids, like we were doing a thing one time at our house where we were timing each other who could run around the house, because the house was like an open floor plan that like went in a circle. Uh-huh. So we were timing to see who could run the fastest around, and I tripped and fell. And so my daughter said that I yeeted so apparently like falling down was
yeeting?
It was yeeting. So she was like,
I thought it was like throwing like stuck and stuff.
I don't know. She was like, Dad came around the corner and like yeeted. Like, I don't know. Yeah. And then if you've ever seen the Netflix show The Outer Banks, a dude goes to jump over a fence and catches his foot on the fence and falls. And then the female character goes, John B., did you just yeet over that fence? And so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in that context, I think your daughter used it correctly.
Yeah, but it could also be like the word Smurf. If you remember the old Smurf cartoons where they just used the word Smurf
for everything.
It was like our dude. You know, like, dude, blah, 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 Smurf. Hey, today's a smurfing good day. Yeah, smurfing butthole.
Dude.
I smurfed his butthole. that could mean anything. Could mean you washed it. Could mean you took
Did
a
a
picture
colonoscopy?
of it. Colonoscopy. You poked at it with a dead fish. I don't know. Like, the smurfing could be anything.
Yeah.
And there's probably some Urban Dictionary word for smurfing that we don't know about. And yeah, it's like somebody out there is rolling their eyes like, oh, these guys have. And
Hey, Mom, don't look this up.
Yeah, it's funny because the other day, the girls and I, my divas, Ella and Mia, we were watching a movie, and Mia adjusted her sock, and in doing so, part of the sock went like between her toes, like it got like real uncomfortable. And she goes, look, it looks like I have camel toes. Me and her older sister, so her sister's 17 and I am 44, looked at her like, what? And she goes, feet. It looks like I have camel feet. And so then there was like a minute and a half of silence. And then I hear her sister, as if I'm not in the room. Ella goes, camel toe is something completely different. And then I hear Mia go, yeah, I know what camel toe is. I didn't mean to say it. And I go, guys, I can hear what you're saying. And then like we all just like laughed and then just like went on with the movie. But yeah, she's like, oh look, I have like camel toe. And it was just dead silence. Camel feet. I mean, camel. It looks like a pig's feet. It looks like I have a pig's foot. Like that. She was trying to change it. It was pretty funny.
That's awesome.
Now, I will say this. We are out here in the studio. Oh, I just said studio. We're out here recording on a picnic table lakeside. Mm-hmm. I wish we could have recorded albums in a place like this. When it comes to band life, when it comes to all that stuff, did you always record? I guess I'm going to kind of take this like serious back to like what people pay for, maybe.
Okay.
But like, did you record? I guess what I'm trying to say is, did you record in the same spot every time, like the same studio? Were you guys like a band of habit, or did you record at different places and do different things and stuff like that?
So 5 Minute Walk had Masaki, and he had a studio like maybe a mile from their offices, and just I don't know. I don't know how long he had this studio. If he had it, he must have started it before Dime Store. So he was.
I remember them, Dime Store Profits.
So he was the guitar player.
Yeah, I remember that.
Might have been the first 5 Minute Walk band.
I remember the Dime Store Profits playing that club that, like, when we talk about like the early insiders, like playing that club where Tony Weatherly, the Fringe, where Tony would like bring bands in. He brought in Dime Store Profits. I remember seeing them there.
An awesome band.
I think I saw them with Black Eyed Siva. I think it was
also
Dime Store, Black Eyed Siva.
That was the Frank Tate plan, was just put all the bands on tour together.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So go on, back to the studio.
Yeah, so Saki had this studio, and it was like in an industrial park. It was like there was an office part and then like one of those garage doors, but it went back, and then it had a second story. So he rented out studio space on the top to other people, which I think paid his bills. He had a couple rooms up there, and they would use it like for practice studios. I think sometimes guys would build out like a recording studio in there. And then downstairs he had an office for himself, a bathroom, that garage area that had a pop machine, and then he had like a mixing room and a sound room.
Okay.
That he kind of built out. And it wasn't the best. Like now, because I record stuff, like I know it wasn't the best. Like that, the room that he had for the recording room was just concrete floor. He had some baffles and things like to absorb the sound, but there was always kind of this natural reverb in there that would show up on his recordings, which was fine. You know, like it was cool for our band. It made us sound, you know, like the old Motown recordings, they would always
Yeah.
record in that attic, like they ran all the speakers up there.
You know
Wasn't
that's
that
still
good?
here in Detroit.
Yeah, I want to go see it.
Hitsville.
Yeah.
It's not far off the highway.
Okay.
Like you could, if you're driving back home, when you're going back home, it's going to be 10 minutes off the highway.
Okay.
And then if you pay to like do the tour and whatever, I think it's kind of a hefty price like to do it. I think it's $15 or $20 for like the tour. But yeah, you can go through it and tour it and see.
Yeah.
And they have like the piano that everyone played like in there and
I gotta
all that
go.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, if I go with my kids, they won't. It'll be a waste of $15, and they'll
Correct.
just complain the whole time.
Yeah, no, it's not for like kids. Like they don't get it. It's
No.
I don't even think like, well, no, that's a bold claim. I was gonna say I don't even think like 20-year-olds and under would get it, but it's not like we were alive during
20-year-olds would.
Motown. It's just
Yeah.
whether you like that style of music and you get it. But yeah, so go on.
So yeah, so Saki had this studio, and he got a PlayStation. So we would just, like, if you weren't recording, you could sit in the control room, which had a futon, and he would always have a TV going. So you'd always be watching like some true crime thing or like cops with closed captioning, and then, or you could go play PlayStation, or you could go out into the parking lot of this place and throw a football around.
Yeah.
That was it. Or you could hoof it. You know, like there, where he was in Concord, there was like any type of good restaurant.
That's what
you
I was
could
gonna
find
say.
Anywhere.
That's what I was gonna
like,
say.
I feel like Afghan food, and there was this amazing place. Or good sandwiches, good Mexican, good
There's
Italian.
always a good
everything.
Mexican place by a recording studio.
Yeah.
Now, did you say Afghan?
Yeah.
Like Afghanistan food? What's that consist of? I mean, I would
It's
think
like-
just like Mediterranean.
It's kind of like Mediterranean, like Middle Eastern. There's a lot of weird gourds that you don't think about eating. Like there's eggplant, but they spice it really nice. And then there's pumpkin in a lot of stuff. And
Really?
yeah, it's so good though. If you get a chance to eat it, it's so good.
Yeah, in movies and television shows that I see, from Afghanistan, usually there's some sort of military film.
Yeah.
That the Americans are going over to Afghanistan for something.
Yeah.
Things don't appear what they're eating. I've never seen in one of those movies and thought, dang, that looks good.
Is that goat on a stick? I want it.
Yeah, just like sucking on a goat tail, or something. Yeah, it's always something weird.
I imagine there's some weird things you could get, but
Yeah,
it's good.
Speaking of weird stuff, we'll get back to recording studio and stuff, but Reese and I, well, at the time you're probably hearing this, hopefully this will be airing. You guys will be getting this in the next few days. Because we plan on getting this out as some special stuff for the subscribers, but we are going to film ourselves, and when I say ourselves, I mainly mean Reese. I tried to find balut because, as you know from earlier episodes, Reese said that he would try balut, and if you look that up, BALUT on your phone, it is a 17-day fertilized egg. From a bird egg, a chicken or a duck or something.
It's a duck abortion.
Yeah, it's basically a duck abortion. It's a duck fetus. It's a formed bird. And you hard boil it and eat it. I mean, you could see it on the internet. It's crazy. Reese said that he would try it. One of our listeners who lives in the Detroit area said that he thought that this market that's by us sold it. So I went to the market yesterday. They did not have balut, but they had the 100-year-old preserved duck eggs. So I got 6 of them.
6.
They come 6 in a pack, a half dozen for $2.50.
That's really a bargain.
We're gonna eat these eggs. Now here's the thing. So you guys have heard my journey with COVID. I couldn't smell, couldn't taste. It had just gotten back to the point where I was just starting to taste and just starting to smell things, and I got vaccinated. I totally jumped the gun on vaccination. Like, they told me 90 days from my last symptom.
Yeah.
And so if you considered no taste, no smell symptom, I was still not smelling and not tasting really. And I should have been getting my shot probably around the 4th of July, but I got it like last week.
Yeah.
And got it. Nothing happened. I didn't feel like I got hit by a truck. I didn't have any side effects. The only thing that happened is I went back to square one as far as tasting and smelling. I have zero taste, zero smell. So today what we're going to do, you're going to eat the egg. I'm going to eat the egg. You can taste, you can smell. I can't. But when one sense goes, I think your other ones are heightened. So I always talk about
You're
mouth.
like Daredevil.
Yeah, I always talk about like mouth feel. So because I can't taste food, I like a good mouth feel, right? And there's nothing worse, like the worst mouth feel in the world is like a hard boiled egg. And if these duck eggs, these preserved, they're black. They look black. We'll post video and pictures of it and all that stuff. We'll do all that. It might be I might not be able to taste and smell it, but just the feel alone may make me barf.
And you said you don't even like eggs.
I don't like eggs.
This is not going to help that.
I can't, there's nothing about there's nothing about an egg that like I like. They smell funny. They taste funny. Any way you cook them, I have to have completely dry eggs. So if I eat scrambled eggs, got to be completely dry. Mm-hmm. There's a place by my house that does omelets, and they pour the egg like on the flat top, almost like a crepe. It's paper thin, and then they put all the stuff in it and like roll it like a burrito and put that on the plate. It's amazing.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, so I love my omelets like that. I don't like all the stuff cooked into the omelet, where it's like in the egg. So this place is awesome. It's phenomenal. So like I can eat eggs like that. I'm not big on scrambled eggs. I don't eat egg salad. I'm not a big fan of like deviled eggs. I don't know if are deviled eggs like a national thing or
they're satanic.
Okay, so satanic eggs. It's actually funny because there's deviled eggs, and I saw something on the internet where someone put they put deviled eggs, and they put a picture of a deviled egg, and then the other picture said like satanic eggs, and it was you took like. You know how with the deviled egg you have the whites, and then you like mix the yolk with like other stuff, and then you put that back in on the white? They had put like Da Bomb hot sauce underneath the blob of like the yolk that went back in.
Yeah.
So those were called satanic eggs. So that when you eat them, you didn't know that was underneath there, and then your mouth and butthole are on fire.
That's real nice.
So back to recording studios.
Yeah.
So are you saying that that's where you recorded every time?
So we did our first album there. We knew Saki from playing shows with Dime Store, and then he was kind of the person that pitched us to Frank, to 5 Minute Walk. So we had a relationship with him where we'd call him and just be like, "Hey, how's it going with Frank?" And he's such a cool dude. So ended up that we recorded our first album like in 8 days in this place, and then 5 Minute Walk, like after that we had sold enough albums. They were like, you can spend as much money as you want on this next album. I'm sure they wouldn't be able to pony up like $100,000, but enough for an indie band,
yeah.
They would have spent probably up to $100,000.
Yeah.
But then Frank's just like, but that's your money, like you're not going to recoup very fast,
right?
If you do that,
right?
So Saki will keep recording you guys as long as you want. And by that time, we were everybody's bros with him. We were really good friends. First album, we stayed in this house. I think I talked about it. This house, this girl that went to Frank's church. I don't know if he owned the house or she was renting it, but like sublet a room to us. This girl was like a single pregnant lady.
Oh,
so hot! Like I'm
still have a Prego.
Yeah,
even
I
Prego
still have a
shoes
crush
hot?
on her.
See, I don't find Prego girls hot. And I take a lot of heat for this. Like, women get upset with me when this topic.
Look,
Leanie the Weenie, she jumps all over me with this.
Yes, it's just a different kind of beautiful. Like, I feel that women are God's most beautiful creation.
Agreed.
They're all beautiful. And so, anyway, I still had a crush on this girl. We slept all in one bedroom, and she was in the other room of this house.
Pregnant.
Just all of us laid out like Jonestown on sleeping bags. And then the next time, Frank had a house that it was his house, but he was moving out of it. So he was renting it out to these dudes that went to his church. One of them was Justin McRoberts, and that was where he first met him. Because when we showed up to make the album, we got in at like 2 a.m. to make our newest album ever, and Justin McRoberts and this guy who's Saki was in my wedding, and this guy Chris Baker, really good, like my best friends.
I remember the name, and I vaguely remember his face.
So Baker, he moved to Colorado, hung out with us. He went to med school at CU, and now he's like a pulmonary specialist for kids.
Oh,
he's big time. But they both lived in this house, and they had made this whole breakfast spread for us. And we got in at like at least 2 a.m, and we didn't wake up until they had yogurts for us, like in this bowl of ice and all this stuff. By the time we woke up, it was floating in water. Yeah. Everything was like, I don't know, it had been out for a while, but so cool. So we, same thing, like Jonestown in 1 or 2 of these bedrooms. And then every album after that, except our EP we recorded in Denver, but we recorded at Saki's, and then we just stayed at Saki's house. Yeah. So Saki wasn't married. He had this house in Benicia, which is like another East Bay city, and we recorded that. We recorded, like not our newest album ever, Quantity is Job 1, that EP. We were just sick of being gone from home because we had been on tour for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So we talked Frank into paying for this studio in town, which was like, in Denver, there was, like in Colorado, there's 2 places to record. 3, one of them burned down. And then there's like the blasting room where the guys from The Descendants own it up in Fort Collins. And then this one place called FTM Studios in Denver. And we didn't want to drive to Fort Collins, so we did FTM Studios. I don't know. It was probably more expensive than our newest album ever because we had to pay Saki, but then we had to rent out the studio for like a month.
Yeah.
To do an EP.
Oh.
But
like we always, when we did Motor City Ska, well, the first album like we ever recorded, the first like recording we ever did was at this place called Sound Camp outside of Detroit.
Yeah.
And that's where we did our 7-inch. Then once we got signed, they had us go to California, so we went to in Huntington Beach. There's this famous place called the Green Room.
Yeah, yeah. Gene Eugene.
Yeah, so Gene Eugene from Lost Dogs and Adam Again, like he owned the Green Room, and so all sorts of like Southern California bands would like record there and all that. So we go, he recorded us, and that was Motor City Ska. So then,
is it like a house that you owned? And could you stay there, or just like a house? Did he live there?
He lived there, so he was in one of the rooms. Then there was like this like weird like hippie woman that like lived there too. I forget what her name is. And people listening to this are probably screaming at the radio, screaming at the speaker what her name
Dorothy.
was. Exactly. But she was like this no nonsense. Like she didn't care if you were like Blink 182, Aerosmith, Clapton. Like she did not care. She was just, that was her house. She didn't care who was recording there. And she just like would tell you to get out of her way. If you were like sitting in a chair, she's like, I sit in that chair to read. And like you'd like get up and move. When you were in the house. And then when you went through a door, you would go through a door, and then that was like the studio. So from outside, it looked like a normal California ranch home in a suburb.
Yeah.
It did not look like a studio. It just looked like a home. And then you went in, and it was like a living room. The living room was a tiki bar. So like the main living room was a tiki bar. Uh-huh. So the bar was there, and then there were like stools and stuff you could sit on. And then like maybe some sort of like beanbag chair. Then there was like Gene Eugene's bedroom, and then this other lady, and her name's like right on the tip of my tongue. There was like her bedroom. Then there was like a dining room that had a pool table. Uh-huh. And then the kitchen. And so then you walked through the door, and then in the back was like the recording room. There was only one recording room. Then there was like the board room, and then there was like a break room. So there was like some couches and chairs, and then like a little bathroom off that. And so Gene did like our first album, did everything in there. The first time like we recorded and the band Bloomsday. Do you remember them?
Yes, man. They were so good.
Yeah, so Bloomsday was there, and like we're like Midwest, kids, Detroit kids that like go out there to this like laid back, relaxed, laissez-faire, California culture. And so we've said it on earlier casts that when you like before we like started making money, you would like save up your money to go out on tour, and that's all the money you had. So when you were out of money, that was it. So like you really planned your meals and you did that stuff. Well, the record label put us up in this like condo, this apartment, with this guy. His name was Eric Tokel, and he played bass for Rich Young Ruler. Do you remember that band? So Eric Tokel played bass for Rich Young Ruler, and he had this apartment, and in this apartment complex. And then the record label, it was like a 2-bedroom apartment. So the record label like basically paid his rent for, a month or two and gave him some like extra money. And then he had his like bedroom, like he had his own bedroom. And then in the other bedroom, we all were in there. And then there was the kitchen, and then the living room. The living room had nothing. There wasn't a couch. There wasn't a table. There wasn't a chair. We all just sat on the floor.
Oh, my gosh.
And there was a TV. There was a TV, and that was it. Everybody just sat on the floor. In Tokel's like room, he had couches, chairs. He had a table. Like his bedroom was like set up like a one room like studio apartment. And so we had nothing, no furniture, no nothing. So we didn't spend a whole lot of time there. But so again, we were in the studio. Bloomsday was in there. So we would record when we could. And then when we stopped recording, they would put the Bloomsday reels on, and they were trying to like mix, and like Gene Eugene was like helping them like mix their album and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they would like sneak in there whenever possible and do some like, pop-ins and stuff and fix some things. Well, we had like our money and our budget, and there was this Chinese food place, and the name escapes me. Oh, the Walk Experience. And so while we were living there, this Chinese food place opened up, and so they were having like a special for like the first month that it was open, which was like the month that we lived there. And basically, I forget what the special was. I think it was called like the combo #1, and you got like a meat, and then you got like rice and like something else. Oh, and lo mein noodles. So you got lo mein, fried rice, and then whatever meat for like $8. But it was so much food that would be 2, if not 3 meals. Like you could stretch that.
That was your whole day of food.
That was my day of food. So I remember one morning I went, I got it, I get back to the studio, I eat it, I write on it because I'm a Midwest kid and I know office demeanor or decorum or whatever you want to call it, procedure. So I wrote my name on the box and I put it in the fridge. So I record all day, and then it's dinner time. I've been like recording for like 5 hours, 6 hours, whatever. So I come out and I go to the fridge, and my food's gone. I'm like, where's my food?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm starving.
Yeah.
And like, where's my food? And I'm like, and I asked like, Bram or whoever, I'm like, do you know where my food? Like, did they clean out the fridge or something? They're like, huh. And I walk through the tiki bar, and the dude from Bloomsday, the guy who was like 6'8", like the lead guy with like dark hair, whatever his name was, he's sitting there with my food in his lap, just scarfing it.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, what? And I go, oh, you're eating my food. And he's like, it was in the fridge. And I go, yeah, I know. It was in the fridge to like stay cold so it didn't like spoil. And he goes, bro, it's you put it in the fridge, it's anyone's.
Really?
And I go, it has my name on it. And I was like, that means it's not anybody's. If I just put something in there and it doesn't have my name, yes, procedure is that's up for grabs. I would agree with you there. I had my name on it.
Holy cow.
And he's like still eating, like while and like I'm like, are you serious, dude? You're just gonna sit there and like eat my food? And he's like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm like, stop eating my like I'm about to just shoot you in the face, dude. Like and you guys understand this, like understand where the story is coming from. 19 years old on a fixed budget.
Plus you're hungry.
You're starving. Like I'm a growing boy. I'm 19 years old. My body is still growing. And I've basically had to like ration out food, and every meal is planned and everything like that. So by him eating my food, I didn't eat that night. Like that was it. That was my dinner, and that meant I didn't eat. So when it comes down to stuff like that, hopefully listeners, you start to realize like, oh, okay, there's more riding on this than I just missed a meal, right? and I could go get something else. Like it put me out to go buy something else. No, that was like my budget. And so he just didn't get it.
And he just kept eating. Didn't get that you were pissed or anything.
I was fuming. And so finally, like, it was conveyed, like, I was like, I'm about to beat the crap out of you. Like, I'm about to beat the crap out of you. And like other people kind of stepped in and were like, hey, what's the problem? What's the problem? And at this point, like, you feel stupid. Like, I felt stupid being as angry as I was, and then when they're like, whoa, what's the problem? To be like, he's eating my food. Like, it even sounded childish coming out of my mouth, but the principle of it was true. And so finally, like, a few hours later, he comes up to me and he, like, gives me, like, $6 or something. He's like, hey, sorry I ate your food, man. And he gave me, like, $6, and I was like... And again, I think I ended up explaining to him, I'm like, dude, thank you. Understand where I'm coming from. Like, we're out here. Like, we don't live down the street like you do. You just live down the road or whatever. And I was like, I have $250 to get me through, like,
the whole month.
2 months. Like, when
2 months.
See, this is what happened. When we went to record Motor City Ska, the plan was we were driving to like Southern California, across country from Detroit. We got to SoCal and we got to Huntington Beach, and then we recorded for like, I want to say like, it was almost like a month that like we recorded. So we recorded for a month, and then we toured for a month and a half before going back home.
Jeez.
So we drove out to California, and then the whole way back, it was us. That was our first tour. It was us, Bloomsday, and Fold Zandura.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so Bloomsday opened.
That's a crazy good show, though.
So Bloomsday opened, then it was us, and then it was Fold. Well, I think we had talked about this on an earlier podcast. By like the third show, ska had like blown, like ska was huge. So the kids that were coming to the show would like, they weren't really into, those of you now, I'm going to say this term like emo. You don't know, like the emo of today is not emo. Like it's not anywhere close. If you want to hear emo, listen to Bloomsday, listen to Sunny Day Real Estate, listen to Far.
Dear Ephesus.
Like that's emo. Like those are like the godfathers. Sunny Day Real Estate is that's like the godfather band of emo. I don't know what today is. Today is like metal and stuff like that, and people just whining and kind of being like an emotional type voice. But if you want to hear emo, listen to Sunny Day Real Estate, like their Pink album or the Circles album that has like the Fisher Price people on it. That's emo. And so Bloomsday was like that. So Bloomsday would come out there and they would do that. And again, like ska, punk, and hardcore from where we're from always went together. However, emo didn't. Like there weren't those types of bands that played with it. So they would open, then we would go, and then all the kids would leave. And then there would be nobody for like Full Zandura because Full Zandura was this like band that you couldn't even put a label. Like what are they? Are they alternative?
Rock.
Are they pop? Are they rock?
They were rock.
Yeah, like lots of synth. Like they had like tracks that they played to and stuff like that. So it was real weird. So after like the second show, Jerome and Gyro and Frank were like, "Hey guys, how about you guys headline?" So we'll go second. So our very first tour, like that's what happened. I think we played like Phoenix and we played like Scottsdale or Tucson or something like that, where we were the second band. And after that, for the rest of the tour, we headlined. But the tour was like, it was like a 5-week tour. So we went everywhere. Like we crisscrossed back and forth across the country. So we had been in California for a month recording, and then we went back and forth across the country for another 5 or 6 weeks even.
Yeah.
So it ended up, we were gone like 2.5 months with the $250 that you left home with. So that is why like that became like, you fought for it. You're like a wolf that finds a carcass and a bear comes along and you're like, dude, I ain't giving this carcass up. I'm going to fight this bear. Because this is survival.
I want to know what happened to Bloomsday because that album is so good. It was called The Day the Colors Died.
I think so.
It's so good.
Honest to God, I haven't listened to it since 1996, 1997.
Okay.
I got to go back and listen to it.
If you can listen to it, you can stream it now. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure you can. Because all those bands, like I would think that their record labels would be streaming that stuff.
Yeah. I don't think I ever saw him play. It was like one of those deals where the rep for the record label would give you stuff out of their trunk.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are cool. You're in 5 Iron. Come over here.
Here.
Do you have this album?
Everybody gets 10 CDs. Yeah. Yup.
Or it was the label trying to get us on their label, and they would be like, check these bands out.
Yeah, and here's a hoodie. Here's a Black Eyed Siva hoodie.
Yeah, it did happen.
Yeah, the recording studio that we were in, the green room, that was like that type of vibe.
Yeah.
And I could go through, I guess we have time up here, we could edit it up, but I think going through the records, we recorded Motor City Ska at the green room. Mm-hmm. We recorded Scalleluja at the green room. We recorded Fight of My Life at Chicago Tracks in Chicago, and that's a studio that was owned by Ministry.
Oh, cool.
And it was owned by Ministry, and if you watched the documentary on R. Kelly, it was also the studio that he had women like
he
chained
peed on
up.
them or whatever?
Yeah, like in those rooms. And I have a story about that too. So
you peed on some ladies when you were there?
We recorded, while we were recording, R. Kelly was there. Like we shared
serious?
Yeah, so we shared like a break room with him. So like one day I like walk in the break room. Oh, so here's something. So people who know that we had like recorded with R. Kelly, they always like the joke is, oh, did you ever see like blah blah blah, like the women and all this stuff? And the honest answer is no. Never saw the women, never knew that stuff was going on. However, there were rooms in the studio that we were told we could not go in.
Okay.
And the reason we were told we couldn't go in is because R. Kelly's bandmates, like they like to sleep all night, or they record all night and then they sleep all day. So we were told you are not allowed to go in these rooms. So there were like these 3 rooms that we weren't allowed to go in. And it was made very clear that if we went into those rooms, our recording session was done. Like we were out. And so we just like didn't want to mess with it.
So what was your recording budget for that? Like to go
For like Fight of My Life?
Yeah, like to go to that.
I think that was like $100,000.
Serious?
Yeah, I think it was like $80,000 or $100,000.
And that included the producer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And who did you have for a producer on that one?
I think for that one, we had Barrett Jones. And Barrett did like Nirvana. Like he got famous by doing like Nirvana. And then Dave Grohl really likes him, and he's like a friend of Dave Grohl. And so I know Barrett has done stuff with Foo Fighters and things like that. And if you watch did you ever watch the documentary on the Foo Fighters that was like on HBO?
No.
It's
You know what?
phenomenal.
I like the Foo Fighters more than I like their music.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like their music, I'm just like, this is good rock.
It's fantastic. I'm the person that, I'm going to say that again. I honestly believe that the Foo Fighters are the greatest rock band ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll make that claim.
I like everything I see, all their videos, super cool. Everything you hear about them, they're cool people. They do cool things. I can't get behind the music so much. It's good,
Yeah.
but it's like, I don't know. It's like one of those bands where I'm just like, it's good. It's not my favorite though.
Yeah. They did a documentary, a series on HBO where they went to all these famous studios. Have you heard of this? Have you heard about this documentary? And then they did an album. And so what they did,
Playing like one song at each
one song,
studio?
and they would write it at the studio. So
Yeah.
all these famous studios all across the country, they would go to like, what's the one, like Sun Records in like Memphis or whatever.
Yeah.
That like famous studio where like Johnny Cash, Elvis, everybody, recorded.
So they'd rent out a super expensive studio and just sit there and work on their writing.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So like Dave Grohl would sit down with like a piece of paper and being in that city. So each episode was like him kind of taking in the city and taking in the history of this recording studio. And then he would write a song about that city, about the studio, about the history. And, obviously, like, have, like, a little Dave Grohl spin on it. And then they would set up, and so they would play. So the ones that I could think of is, like, the studio were, like, Fugazi, like, in D.C. So, like, one of the studios were, like, Fugazi. And then, like, Ian Mackay.
From Minor Threat.
Yeah.
Is he also in Fugazi?
Yeah.
Okay. We were talking about this like 2 episodes ago, and I couldn't remember what his other band was.
Yeah.
Then he was like in some Hare Krishna band.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Which I can't remember.
Yeah, we can't. It's not. Is it like Shai Halud?
No, that's like the guys from Strong Arm started that.
Okay. And so he would go to all these studios, and then they would record all these songs, and then they put it all on an album. So if you bought that album of theirs, it's like a 10-song album, and then they recorded like each song in a different studio across the country.
Okay. I mean, that sounds really cool, but also super expensive.
Yes. Yeah, well, it's Grohl and the Foo Fighters. They get what they want. So then, like, we recorded that one in Chicago, and so the reason I was talking about that is if you watch that documentary, Barrett Jones is in that documentary, like, talk about stuff. So Barrett Jones did our album so poorly. It was done so bad that when we listened to it, we were like, this is garbage. Like, how do we salvage this?
The way it was recorded or the mix?
The mix.
Okay.
Like, all that stuff. Like, he did Nirvana. He did rock. He didn't do ska bands. And that's, like, when we talked about the episode, where these 50-year-old dudes who don't know about the style of music, they just see it as a cash cow where they make decisions. All we ever wanted... I may have things screwed up now, but I believe like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones always had these guys. They were brothers. They were either twins or they were brothers, I believe. And they worked for like Tang was like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones like first like record label, I believe. TAANG, I think. And these two like brothers would like mix them. And so we always wanted these like two brothers. Like we just wanted to be able to say that the Boss Tones guys who like produced and mixed their albums mixed ours. And we could never get them. And then finally, like when we had like the budget, like this $100,000 budget or whatever to be like to make Fight of My Life, we were like, hey, let's get these guys. And for whatever reason, like our record company is like, no, we have an in with Barrett Jones who did Nirvana. And we're like, awesome. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
And I'd love to sit down and
he do
talk to the
ska?
guy, has he ever mixed a horn?
Yeah.
Like, does he even know that?
Or how to record them. Like, what mic do you use?
Yeah.
Where do you put it?
Exactly. Like who out of
Does he
Seattle?
know what a good trumpet player is going to sound like? How do you coach that out of somebody?
Exactly. And so, but the record company was like, no. So they went with Barrett, completely screwed everything up. Like he got in like a fight with Kyle. He got like, all this stuff. It was terrible.
He was probably tying a tarp to Kyle's tree.
Oh, it was awful. And so then we ended up going back. We went back to the green room. Gene Eugene like mixed it. I think we had to completely redo like two songs.
Was that included in the $100,000, or is that what made it $100,000?
No, I think that was included.
Was it over?
Yeah, it was probably over budget.
Damn.
Yeah. And again, that's why everybody went bankrupt that we were on. So, yeah, so then that ended up happening. So we recorded there. We recorded Scalleluia 2 in Laguna Beach. There was a producer there, and I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. Like the nicest guy in the world. Freaking mansion. Like he lived in a mansion in Laguna Beach.
And you recorded in this guy's mansion?
In this guy's mansion. Like half of his house, half of this mansion was the studio.
Yeah.
And so he was there. Like his family went on a vacation. Like his family wasn't there. It was just him. And then we rolled in there. So we stayed at the house. We stayed at this mansion and then recorded. And that was fun because we had a bunch of guest musicians. Like we did Old Rugged Cross.
Yeah.
And Kim sang it like Elvis. And then he also sang it like in Korean as like a Korean Elvis. And so to get that like kind of ragtimey feel, like a couple of guys had gone to like on a day off, they went to Disneyland, and the like ragtime band that was at Disneyland, like the guys who played like clarinet and stuff and like some ragtime band, like Nate went up and was like, hey, you guys want to make a couple extra bucks? And they're like, yeah, what? And they're like, we're recording this album. We could use you guys. So we had the Disneyland ragtime band like showed up at the studio.
How many dudes were there?
I think there were, I think we used two of them. I think we used two or three. So if you listen to the Insider's version of Old Rugged Cross, that ragtimey sound, that was the guys, these musicians that we brought in from like Disneyland. And then the Skeletones, their sax player, his name was Kip. We had him come in because it was after we had toured with Jeffrey's Fan Club and the Skeletones.
Yeah.
So Kip came in and he's like this amazing, like he could do throwback like Motown stuff. Like he has that Motown soul voice. And so he's on a couple of our songs where he plays saxophone and then he also does background vocals and sounds amazing. I mean, I was just like, I felt like I was like a high school like quarterback, like standing next to like, Tom Brady. Like I just felt worthless singing because he's just amazing. So that was cool.
That's awesome.
So we did that album there, and then we did Soundtrack to a Revolution at Royce Nunley's house, and I've talked about him in the past. And then Sinner's Songbook we did at this small studio that Nate met somebody who's in our hometown, a studio that I didn't even know existed, and we did that there.
Yeah.
So
you recorded only 2 albums in Detroit.
Correct.
That's crazy.
Only 2 albums in Detroit. Yeah, so Sinner's Songbook and Fight of My Life were recorded in Detroit. All the other ones were recorded everywhere else. But here's the thing. We would always send the mixes back to Gene Eugene. So Gene always mixed it. So if we recorded it in Chicago, we would send it back. When we recorded it like in Laguna, we would send
Just
it,
get in the mix.
to Gene Eugene. So we would have a producer that would do all that, and then when it went to mixing and mastering, Gene always did that.
Yeah.
And then
He mastered it too.
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe he mastered it. For one album, I think we sent it out to someone that, like, again, same thing, like some guy who had this like amazing ear,
Yeah.
and would master, and then we wouldn't like it. And
Yeah.
then we would go back to Gene. And then when Soundtrack to a Revolution came out, that was all Royce. So Royce mixed it. Actually, no, Royce didn't. This guy named Sky. Are you familiar with that guy? He's like one of Tim Tabor's dudes. He mixed it and mastered it. So he came and like set up this like portable studio. Because I think Royce had like old school recording equipment, and this guy named Sky had like Pro Tools and all that. So he came to Royce's studio, set up his stuff at Royce's studio,
Yeah.
and then he did all the mixing and mastering. And I think Soundtrack to a Revolution is like our best mixed. I think that thing sounds
so
fantastic.
tough.
Yeah, I think it sounds really good.
Yeah. I forgot we did all our front stuff with Saki, and even we recorded 2 live albums with Saki. Like, he would just carry his gear. So we did Proof That the Youth Are Revolting, and then we did one for our last show, but we recorded just about every show so he could cut pieces where we messed up. And,
Yeah.
because the entire last show, I was sick. I was sick for like a month of that last tour from the bus that Frank had us on.
Ugh.
It was, I think I talked about this too. It was like freaking one of the guys from NSYNC's brother,
Aaron Carter.
Carter. Yeah, it was.
Oh, that guy's
they
like a meth
head bus from this
allegedly.
dude. And I kept on being like, Frank, I think I'm allergic to something on the bus. I think it's something on this bus. And he'd be like, well, I had it cleaned. It's fine. And I'm like, well, maybe in the ducts. Did you have them cleaned? And he's like, yeah, they changed the filters. They were dirty, but... So after we finished, I was sick for a month, just singing through the
Really?
cold, just sick. We get home for 3 days, played our last show. Like, those 3 days, my voice improved enough that it wasn't awful. But like, Frank cleaned it afterwards, and he said there was 2 inches of mold on every part of the, like, just 2 inches thick of mold inside all the ducts of that bus.
Ugh.
So it was just blowing mold in all our faces as we slept.
Oh.
But yeah, we recorded all that with Saki, even the live stuff. And it wasn't so much that like Saki was the best, but he kept getting better with every album. And I feel like we could have done, like, we could have after our first album just been like, hey, what does it sound like to get a really expensive guy to produce your album, or go to another studio or get somebody else to mix it. But we loved Saki so much. He's such a cool dude that we're like, do you want to go like figure out how to do this again with some stranger, or hang out with our friend for a month? I don't know. How did you guys record? That's my other question. How did you guys record your albums? Like, everybody went to the place and then you just kind of like, it's your turn, and then everybody else is sitting around, or were you still writing when you got there?
No, so all our writing was, we always had everything done prior.
Yeah.
To my recollection, there might be 1 or 2 songs in our catalog that maybe was written at the studio, but like, gun to my head, I would say everything was written. There might be one anomaly or something. But to my recollection, every single song was already done prior to going. All the lyrics were written prior to going into the studio. And then what we would do is we would get in there, and obviously just like just like everything else, probably the way every band does it, I'm guessing, is the way that we were taught to do it. So like everything centers around the drums. So day one, you get in there and you just rip through all the songs.
Lay down scratch tracks.
Yeah, scratch tracks.
And then record the drums for real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then drums are playing to all the scratch tracks of everybody else. So then you get the drums down, then bass comes in, and bass is playing to the real drum track, scratch vocals, scratch guitar, scratch all that. So then bass plays, and then guitar would come in. He's playing to the real drums, the real bass, and scratch vocals, scratch horns. Then the horns come in. They play to the real drums, the real bass, the real guitar, scratch vocals. And then I would come in and then I would come in and I'm hearing everything that all the guys have done, like perfectly, all the real stuff. I would do my parts, and then we would do whatever backgrounds and gang vocals and all that stuff after.
We did the exact same program.
Yeah, and then the like percussion. So then as you listen to it, if you listen to it that 400th time, and then you're like, there's just something missing here. Oh, I know. We need a what do they call it? Like a jawbone, like the ass's jawbone or something. And then someone would go digging or go to some studio where their friend worked that had this like instrument that like it literally like you smack it on your hand, it makes like a clacking noise. And then like, okay, that's what that needed there. And you'd go back and you'd kind of fill things in with like some like weird percussion, like here or there. It's something that was needed.
Did the producers weigh in on like, I don't think this chorus is strong enough?
Yes.
Can you guys do that?
Yes.
Do this stronger?
Yes.
Change these words?
Yes.
Sing it this way?
Yes.
They did do that?
Yep, all of that. They would do all of that. And so that's why when it got to soundtrack, so the Insiders had kind of like broken up for a while, and then we get back together in like 2005 to do Soundtrack to a Revolution. And that was the thing. Like, we would ask, we'd be like, how does this sound? And they're like, it sounds great. And like, after a while, I was like, are you just like blowing smoke on my skirt? Like, that was Royce producing. And I was like, are you going to give me like any feedback or like tell me? And he's like, why? Like, this is you. This is your art. I'm not going to tell you how to do your art. And he was like, I mean, if you want, you can ask me questions. Like, I'll give you answers. Like, and so then I was like, no, please do. Like, if you hear anything that's like, this would be more listener friendly, this would be. So then he would start giving, kind of, I might do it this way. Or, Joe, maybe you could sing like that. I remember one time when we were recording Soundtrack to Revolution, we went and got subs from the place that we ate yesterday, Tubby's. And it went right through me, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna have diarrhea. I'm gonna have diarrhea so bad. And I was like, let's record it. And so we took all the mics in, and we put a mic on either side of the toilet. And like I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm trying to hold it in. I'm like, guys, I'm about to let loose. Like, you gotta give me the thumbs up. So I'm watching. So in order to see like them at the booth, we had to set up a mirror. So I could look at the mirror and then see the reflection of them, like, like a 90-degree angle.
That's a lot of squeezing your cheeks together.
Dude, I was holding it together. And so they give me the thumbs up, like, okay, we're recording. And so I'm like, here I go. And it goes, and just explodes. So we get this horrific, like, diarrhea, whatever. And we had it on the album. What? So if you listened to the album, like to the end, it was like this hidden track, like way on the end, me just exploding diarrhea.
And do you hear you go, here it goes?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
And so we send it to Tim. And Tim, like, so we're like, hey, here's the album. And we send him like this is our finished product. And like 2 hours later, we get like a phone call, and he's like, what is that at the end? And
he found it.
He found it, and he's like, dude, that's not going on the album. And that was Tim Tabor. We put that out on his record label, Floodgate. And he's like, that's not on there. And we're like, Tim, come on. And he's like, absolutely not. It's not going on. He's like, this isn't even a debate. So I think we had recorded this awful explosion of diarrhea to just put on the end of the album, like pretty much like that. This is typical Insiders.
Oh man,
crap.
We need to get this and put it out to our Patreons.
I know. And so there was a recorded crap that didn't make it onto the album, but the other crap songs did. The other ones were just as poopy.
No.
Yeah. So I don't know what.
So the whole time everybody else is recording, what did you do? Like,
So-
if you had everything written, were
Yeah.
you just kind of sitting around that whole
No.
time, or were you in there being like, I don't like how he played that fill?
No, because I didn't like. We had a thing where like we wouldn't really tell each other how to play our instruments, right? And so everybody brought their gifts and their talents to it and the way that they wanted to use it. Now, if somebody asked a question, hey, what do you think I should do here?
Yeah.
Someone would be there to give them an opinion. But like, I would never tell like Nate, like, hey, like, stop what you're doing. I don't like that. You need to do this. Maybe the producer would, like Gene Eugene might, and like Frank Lenz, like Nate really respected Frank Lenz, and
Because he's amazing.
yeah, and so Frank, for our first couple albums, whenever we were at the green room, like Frank Lenz would like hang out, and even on one of our albums, there's like this hidden track at the end that people are always like, what is that song? It's like this real weird, almost like Devo type song. And it was because Frank Lenz, we had been recording it, like we all went to dinner, and like while we went to dinner, Frank went in the studio, hit record, and like made this song. Like, I think maybe we were gone for a weekend. Like we had to do some shows in California.
No.
And then we were away for like a couple days and then came back to the studio, and he had like recorded this song. And it's called like Manual Transmission.
Oh my
And so if you like look up Insiders on iTunes or Spotify or whatever, and if you look up like Manual Transmission,
It's all Frank.
it's all Frank. That's not even us. Like, we don't play one note.
Oh, that's
Like,
funny.
He did all the music and then he wrote all the lyrics, and then he did it while we were in there, and we were like, leave it on. Like, it's going on the album. So
Yeah.
it's on the album. Yeah, so what was the question? Did we
Just what you did while everybody else was playing.
Yeah, so wherever we recorded, we were always like, I mean, it sounds stupid to say wherever we recorded, that's where we were,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's a stupid statement, but
But you only recorded two
Yeah.
albums in your hometown. So,
Right.
like, there, you're like, if I'm not in the studio,
I'm home.
I can go do things.
yeah, so that's what we did. I usually recorded, the way it worked out is I would usually record from like 10 or 11 o'clock at night till like 2 in the morning. So that's when I would do my vocals. So during the day, when we were in Southern California doing Motor City Ska, we were at Tokel's apartment. Like, the apartment complex had like a pool. So like we'd be swimming, we'd be going to like all these like record stores, stuff like that. When we were in Chicago, that was different because there wasn't much to do there, because like where the studio is, it was like in a really bad area of Chicago. And so that was weird. We also, now that I'm thinking about it, we recorded at two places in Chicago. We recorded the place. I might be getting the names of the studios wrong. Like the place where R. Kelly, that was owned by Al Jorgensen from Ministry, that place might not have been called Chicago Tracks. It might have been something else. I think Chicago Tracks was a studio that we recorded, I think, one song that was downtown Chicago, like by Navy Pier.
That's cool.
And so, like, Frank Sinatra had recorded there and
Jeez.
stuff like that. Oh, there was a story there. So we recorded in downtown Chicago near Navy Pier. And it was the studio that Frank Sinatra had recorded at. And so we were like kind of asking questions, and nobody that worked there at that time had worked there when Frank obviously recorded. But what was funny is they have the story that Frank Sinatra and like his record label paid like all these like musicians, basically like an orchestra, to come in. And let's say they got there like on Monday. So there's like 50 people. They're all in this room. They're like ready to go, everything. And they're on the clock. And Frank doesn't show up. And
they're probably union members, so they're getting top dollar.
Top dollar. Frank doesn't show up. So an entire day they've sat in the studio. Frank doesn't show up. Next day, Frank's on his way. They sit around all day. Frank never shows up.
Jeez.
So like, I don't know if it was the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day. Everybody's in there, ready to go. They're sitting around, and all of a sudden, boom, front door opens. Frank walks in, hands his coat to like someone who's just like, just here's my coat. He walks in. The engineers are all, oh my gosh, let's get this thing up and going. They're like, turning on the board, doing everything. Frank Sinatra walks in. He walks right up to the microphone. He's like, 1, 2, 3. Band starts playing. He starts singing. The engineer, it happened so quick. The engineer couldn't hit record quick enough. So he misses like the first like 3 words. Frank comes in, 1 take, goes through the song, ends it, done, lights up a cigarette, walks back out, grabs his coat, walks out the door. The engineer's like, wait. Mr. Sinatra. He's like, you know what? You came in here, you surprised me. You got in there, I didn't get like your first 3 words. And he was like, you figure it out. And he just gets in his car and drives away.
Damn.
So like, the band, everybody was just ready. Like they knew what was up. So as soon as he came in, he was like 1, 2, 3, boom. They all hit at the right time. Engineer didn't record vocals, and they had to figure out. Like Frank never came back. He never came back to like redo it. And they had to, before Pro Tools was a thing, like they had to figure out how to get those lyrics that were repeated later on in the song.
Oh, they cut it and spliced the tape.
Yeah, like old school. Like they had to
with actual tape.
Yeah.
Like it was like Scotch tape.
They had to figure out
together.
Yeah, how to get those first like 3 words.
Jeez.
So that was like a story from like that place. And I think that place was called Chicago Tracks. The other place that was the R. Kelly place, the dungeon. That place was weird too. So it was owned by Al Jorgensen of Ministry. I hope I'm saying that name right. I hope I'm saying the right name.
Or Jorgensen.
Yeah, something.
I think everybody calls him Jorgensen.
So when we walk in, as soon as we walk in the studio, we arrive in Chicago, we walk in, we're greeted by this probably 8-year-old girl who's growling at us, snarling at us, hissing at us. And we're like, what in the world? Like, we're like, hey, do you know who works here?
Somebody need a hug?
Yeah. So this girl, we open the door and we walk in as a band, and then like the little lobby hallway, this is who we're greeted by, is this 8-year-old girl growling, hissing, like foaming at the mouth at us. And we're like, do you work here? Like, can you find someone who works here? So finally, this like the receptionist comes back from like taking her dump or wherever she was, and she comes in and she's like, "Oh, hey guys, are you the insiders?" We're like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, let me show you to your studio and blah blah blah." And she goes, "This is Al's daughter, Legion. He named her Legion." So here's Ministry, this like blatantly satanic band. And he named his daughter Legion.
No, he didn't.
He did. And here she is, like, for all intents and purposes, like possessed, standing in front of us, like foaming and like here come the Christians. We just walked through the door and she was like, rah, like she was.
If not possessed, she was at least like taught. This is a rewarded behavior.
Oh, it was
act like you're possessed.
Bizarre.
Honey.
Yeah, it was bizarre. So then
we got a Christian band coming in.
Exactly. And so then we go to walk up the stairwell that leads up. There's like an A studio and a B studio, and R. Kelly was in one. Or there were a couple studios, but R. Kelly was in the big one, and then we were in the other, like the next big one. And we like go to walk up the stairs.
Yeah.
And there's like this altar of bones, like this like sacrificial altar made of turtle shells and turtle bones. And then the staff that you would see the dude, I think it's Al from Ministry. Like he always had this like staff at like live performances that had like a goat head, like a goat skull with like the big like curly Q horns.
Yeah.
Like that staff was like there and stuff like that. So we're like walking all by this. We're like, what in the world? Like, this is crazy. And then we get up there and R. Kelly's in the one studio. We're in another one. Then we would record. And while we were recording one day, I'm out in the hallway or something. And this guy who is part of another recording session, he's like, hey, are you part of this group in there? And I'm, yeah. And he's like, what kind of music do what kind of music is that? And I was like, oh, it's called ska. And he's like, you guys got like horns and stuff in there, don't you? I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm doing a project. Like, I'm here, like, recording a project. I would love to use you guys.
I remember you telling me this when it happened.
Yeah. So he goes, I'd love to have you as, like, the background music for this project I'm working on.
It's a film project.
Yeah, it's a film project. And I'm like, oh, cool. I was like, well, I just sing. I'm not like a musician. And he's like, yeah, it would just, I don't need singing, but like if your buddy's like, I'll pay him. And it would just be like, you know, kind of like the score to this movie. And I was like, oh yeah, man. Like, what is it? Like, what kind of movie is it? And he's like, oh, I do videos for Penthouse.
It's a love story.
It's a love story. And I was like, what?
These people fall in love for a couple minutes.
Yeah, they really love each other for about 13 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like explaining to me like the scene but he never mentions like the sex or anything like that or like nudity. He's straight talking to me.
But he did say Penthouse.
He did say Penthouse.
I think I've heard of this.
Yeah. And
it's a magazine?
Yeah, something. And so he's describing like this cafe scene. And so me and the guys were dying and we were like, oh, could we be in the video? Could we be in this cafe in the background? And, you know, that would be our payment. And we're dying laughing, and he's not like understanding why we're thinking this is like so funny.
Right.
And he's thinking that like we're artists and our craft would be like in his, you know, artistic, you know, vision. And then he's kind of like, why are you guys laughing? And we're like, because we're a Christian band. Like, we're a Christian ska band. And so then he's like, oh. And we're like, yeah. So they would kind of be funny if this Christian ska band, like now, I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Just be in the background.
Yeah. Listeners, I don't know if you guys, if hopefully you don't know this, but there's a porn star named Kendra Lust. And she's a big porn star. She's a popular porn star, and she's from Detroit. And I always think it would be absolutely funny on my other podcast called The Average Jerks. We talk about local Michigan. I always think it would be so funny. And I have connections that I would be able to get a hold of Kendra Lust.
Hashtag Kendra Lust.
I always think it would be funny to have her on the podcast, build up having her on the podcast, and then have her on and never talk about porn. Like, just talk about normal things. Mm-hmm. Talk about her being a mom if she is one.
You ever had a good ham sandwich?
Yeah. Just where's the best ham sandwich in Detroit? Talk about everything else.
Nothing.
Never bring up.
Don't even insinuate it. Don't talk about the yard of beef.
No, nothing. No innuendo. No nothing. And just talk about everything else. I think that would be hilarious. And so with kind of along those lines, that's what I thought back then. Like, oh my, like back then I was like, oh my gosh, no, the insiders couldn't do that. Nowadays, if it was like, oh yeah, you know, Pornhub wants to use insiders music in the background, I'd be like, heck yeah, that'd be hilarious. The double whistle for Kendra Lust. Hashtag Kendra Lust. If you guys don't know who Kendra Lust is, don't look her up. You should not look her up.
Yeah. We can tell you.
Or just look up Kendra Lust clothed. You might be, you know, like safe for work.
Just do not do the image.
Yeah, don't do an image search. Or if you do,
videos.
Yeah, do safe for work Kendra Lust. And that's probably,
okay.
If you have to, that's how you should do it. But don't just Google her name. That would not be good. And if children are listening, you give your phones back to your parents.
You're done.
You're done. You're done.
Just lost the internet.
You just lost out. Phones with teenagers is like giving them the Infinity Gauntlet. It's too much power. It's too much power.
Don't do it.
Yeah. So that's kind of like
so
some of my
crazy.
recording stories.
I want to tell you more, but I gotta pee, and I feel like
let's take a
should
break.
Start drinking booze.
Yeah, let's do it.
For more shows like this one, visit rockcandyrecordings.com.